Hello. And hopefully this works. Alright, let's get going. Episode 4, Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro, Investigation Part 2. Whee! February, 2:38 p.m. Briar Road. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. What's my Susato voice? Perfect! So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. Do-do, do-do. Do-do, do-do, do-do. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment? I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. No, that's not my Gregson voice. That's my Gregson voice. Yo, old chap. I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gagabouts, that's for sure. We have these for you. A present from Miss Iris Wilson. What? For me? From her ladyship? Ah. That's a very, very interesting reaction from you, Gregson. Her ladyship? Give that here at once. Come on, hand it over. That's for me. Ah! Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? That's a weird sentence. What was that coin exactly? It's a silver crown, obviously. But it's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee, that's what it is. An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean... That's right. For the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, so it's not a bribe. Okay. Her ladyship always offers me a little financial reward for featuring me. Every time. Okay, so not a bribe. Interesting. Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly. Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me the butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still... I'm sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you. Never mind you that. So, what do you wanna know then, eh? Sorry? Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know? How much money is a silver crown? Let's see. Silver crown. Worth 5 shillings. How much is a shilling? Is it like shilling 1/20th of a pound sterling, or 12 pence? This isn't helpful. Okay, well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Ah, the little knife-wielding, mustached Japanese fella. He lives in a right hovel, just over there. Look. Strand Street? Or not the street, the building. On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle is propped up. That is nearby indeed. If I remember rightly, landlord is a Mr. John Garrett. Garrideb. John Garrideb. What pun is that? Is there a pun in that? Garrideb. Right, well, if you see her again, make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? But why do you call her ladyship? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends her his very best wishes. Don't worry, Inspector. We will. Goodbye for now, then. And long live her ladyship. What did she do for you that you call her her ladyship? Okay. Well, at least you told us what we wanted to know before he left. Yes, so then, shall we go and see what we can find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely! Is this new guy says? Okay, 19th February, Mr. Natsume's lodgings. Why do I feel like we're gonna end up living here, maybe? We still haven't found lodgings. Okay. Well. Unexpected. May I help you? Yes. Yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garadeb? Indeed it would, sir. And who may I say is calling? My name is Ryonosuke Naruhodo. Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here? Here? We would so very much like to ask him some questions about our client. One moment, please. Okay, now that I need something that's different from Susato, which means I can't use that. One moment. One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb. I don't know what that voice is. Okay. Whoa. Did you see that, Mr. Sato? That was a real-life English maid. I know. As I understand it, anyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. It certainly feels like we've arrived now, doesn't it? We only need to meet a butler, and the experience will be complete. Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment. Thank you for waiting. No, what is that? Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you for waiting. Mr. Garadeb will see you now, this way. That's who's in the painting. I doubt what we're gonna say here. This guy's really gonna make us examine him instead of conversing regularly. Okay. That portrait of Mr. Garadeb is glaring at me, I swear. Have you noticed that all the little frames contain photographic prints of Mr. Garadeb as well? Yes, and there seems to be a statue of a lion on the mantelpiece as well. Oh, we haven't talked to him. We should have talked to him. Okay, whatever. Yes. Seemed to come back from the local pawnbroker with that little trinket. Seemed to come back? What do you mean? The chap who runs the place is a bally wizard. Went in to sell him something and came out with that thing. In point of fact, now that I think about it, I rather often find myself leaving the place with something I don't need. So, an old war vet, I guess? The lined ornament certainly seems to surplus to the requirement. Susato-san doesn't pull her punches. Or her throws, for that matter. Alright. Let's talk to him. Good day to you. Good day to you. John Garrett at your service.
Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryonosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer.
Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee quite a few years back in the Battle of Maiwand, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from the service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings.
So he's a retired soldier.
That's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine.
Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the second floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you think so? Well, Mr. Garrideb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal.
Oh, it was nothing. Medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these people see it properly. Let these good people see it properly. Joan, fetch the... Ah! Dash it all, woman! Be careful!
Oh, dearie me! I do beg your pardon, sir.
You jolly nearly took the skin off my hands.
I shall be more careful, sir.
So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now.
Yikes. This pair. Yikes indeed. Oh. Okay. Yes, I see.
Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs, is that right?
Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us.
Only do, please, naturally. Especially if it helps to keep the place in the peace here in Blighty.
Oh my gosh, I hope you don't smoke out of that. You are just ruining it so badly if you do actually smoke from it.
We've forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were.
Oh, is it?
Even had some famous detective book walking around, you know? In this old house, would you believe?
Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes.
Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business.
Oh, but you have a copy of Rance magazine here, so...
Eh? No,
That seems like you are a fan, but don't want to say you are. That's my guess. Anyway, the chap's investigating foreigners' room as we speak. It bugs me that they don't update the maid's name to Joan. But... unless her name isn't Joan. Oh, get a front-facing picture. It's a defendant. Accused of attempted murder. Who did he attempt... allegedly attempt to murder? Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak. So he's in Soseki's room. Soseki-san's room.
it's a bally nuisance, that's what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching in its curtains now. I don't like all the fuss. It's jolly unsettling.
About Natsume then, Mr. Garadeb. Please, do tell us.
Ah, yes. The Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week.
Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then.
I have 2 lodgers most of the time. One on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago. You see, then there's... The first floor room became available a week ago, you see. There'd been... Dash it all, Joan. Do be careful.
Oh, my goodness. I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh? Why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later, he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything. We won't be calling this maid as a witness, that's for sure. Was there something else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Oh, yes. Indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. Had you noticed anything else about your lodger, Mr. Natsume? About your lodger, Mr. Natsume?
Oh my word, yes. The man was shadier than an orchid.
Could you elaborate?
Well, take the man's room. Absolutely stuffed full of books it is. More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. I haven't seen a single visitor call. He just trots off the old bookshelf every single day, and comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past the time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too.
Oh, I see.
The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed at around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning.
Could you clarify something, I wonder?
What, pray?
How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine?
Oh!
Understand that neither the lodgers live on this floor of the house, is that correct?
That's right, yes, they're below us, on the first floor in the street level.
Then, how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example. Even the times they go to the bed.
Ah! Good grief, Joan. Be more careful, woman. Oh, my goodness. Sir, I'm terribly sorry, sir.
I think the real reason you can't walk is because you've got burns all over your legs from this woman spilling tea all over the place. All over your legs. Something doesn't add up here. It seems that the incident took place at around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around that time?
The window? The window?
Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby?
5 o'clock is dinner time in the Garrett household, so I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk outside already at that hour, and with the fog as well, I should think it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road. Oh, I see. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary then?
Such as?
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
Well.
Yes? Was there something then?
Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but around the time here. For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing.
Oh, dear me, what have I done? I'm awfully sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman.
Of course, sir. If I may, Mr. Naruhalo? Oh, yes?
I have exceedingly good memory, and as far as I can remember,
Nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all. Oh, really? Mr. Garrideb? The way you were talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been. Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of... Joan! Dash it all! What's the matter with you, woman? Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan? That's right, Mr. Garrideb. What is the matter with these two? Awfully sus, eh? Naruhodo-san. Jeez. It sounds like something happened in this room on the evening of the incident. But what? I wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on? Why, certainly. Just below us, on the first floor. And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there, even as we speak? Yes, told me that's his name. Had asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key. Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we also had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean. Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs. Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case. But we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes, and while we're there, we can speak with Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more. Alright. Let's look around. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it? It's clearly been well looked after, though. That old thing. Ha! Not much better than rags, really. Oh? Wore that ceremonial garb at my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past. Me would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, it doesn't hurt to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it? Oh, my throat. Oh my gosh. Oh. Oh, I see. Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. That looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased on a very grand banner. Yes, it's displayed with the same pride, I would say. Although it bothers me that's not straight. What? That old thing? Sorry?
I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn in his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's the best place for it. Keeps the bally thing out of my way.
So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose? There appears to be an inscription on the metal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, "For distinguished participation." Sounds like the kind of honors even I could be in line for.
Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet. But I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals on to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles.
Are those mortar shells? They're enormous. Ah, I hadn't noticed. What are they doing here?
Ah, those old things. Couple of little rounds. I accidentally fired into the barracks during training, you know. Became a bit of a colorful regiment folklore, that incident.
You mean you deliberately hunted out the spent shells?
Well, I wouldn't say deliberately, exactly. They're only scrap iron, after all. Usually just thrown away, I believe. But you never know when the things might become useful, do you?
Useful for what, exactly?
Yes, well. Joan here did manage to knock one of the bally things on my foot the other day while she was dusting.
Oh no!
Hadn't shed a tear since 1896 before then, you know.
Maybe we consider throwing them away. Well. Okay. What else? Other than the giant gun. What's spilled on the floor? Look at that enormous screen. It must have been put there deliberately, surely. Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder? I'm going to have a very quick look, just a little peek. Ahem, ahem. Maybe let's not, Miss Susato. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. Ahem, ahem. Oh, look! What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand. Lined up? It's more like someone has half demolished them to me. Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It is quite the English way. It is Mr. Garrideb's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful. Oh, wait a minute though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand. Well, naturally. It would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garrideb doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up. How magnanimous of you. Oh, that's what we're not seeing. Okay, let's look at the gun first. That's a full-sized cannon. What's it doing in here? Oh my, it's real. I thought it might be a replica. That old thing. Bah, that's little more than a toy. Sorry? The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never knew when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy. Do you think there may be some trouble brewing, Mr. Garrideb? Always is. Take Joan here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Dries them over the barrel, you see. They drive very well on the cannon there, Joan tells me, which rather proves my point, I feel. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging by its head. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. Books! I notice you have a pile of books here, Mr. Garrideb. Do you enjoy reading? Ever experienced a London winter, boy? The nights are long. No better way to pass the time than in front of the fire with a jolly good book. Oh, there's a copy of Vance magazine here, I see. No doubt Mr. Garrideb enjoys the adventures of Sherlock Holmes too. The great detective has a great many followers, it would seem. Or he's a fan of anything else in the magazine. It's not the Sherlock Holmes magazine now, is it? Haha. This window looks over Briar Road where the young woman was attacked. Oh yes. I can make out the policeman in the far side of the road investigating the crime scene. The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly. Does this thing open at all, I wonder? I shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of old London winter, sir. Sorry? As soon as you open that window, the tea will freeze in the pot. No Londoner would go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you. It seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything of the incident then. Look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it? Oh my! A genuine London dresser. Isn't that delightful? Isn't that delightful? Although the shelves seem to be broken, and the crockery is... Oh dear, it's in pieces. It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do that chinaware justice. Ah, I wonder. Perhaps the cannon was fired at it. Yes, probably something like that. But let's not delve too deeply here. Interesting detail. Oh, that's a candle on the floor. Okay. This old candle holder looks a little out of place here, wouldn't you say? Yes, you're right. It's clearly supposed to be gold, but it's almost completely black for some reason. That old thing, yes. Just a cheap piece of ironmongery. Gimcrack, really. Oh. Used it when I was studying, don't you know? For my commission. I know it's old. Hardly worth hanging on to, really. But, well, it still has its uses sometimes. Of course. Does everything in this room have some elaborate story behind it? They're memories, Mr. Naruhodo. Memories. Mr. Natsume's room. Oh. Yeah, I suppose this is a bit shady. If they were in shelves, but on piles, in piles, it's a bit much. 19th February, Mr. Natsume's room. Oh, there's a kitty! What? Just look at this place. And smell it. It's so musty in here. I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. Are you seeing the kitty, Husato? Are you staring at the kitty? No. Okay, never mind. I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. Not even in the library. Alright, I guess. It depends. Maybe. feel like they're... Oh. No, me neither. It's so dark in here too. Is that the window over there? Well, it was the window, I think, yes. Once upon a time. But for some reason it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. Taxes! They boarded up windows cause people were being taxed more if they had more windows. So they closed them up. I believe that's what it is. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. By the way, I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you? No, that's true. Or according to what Mr. Garudeb told us, the great detective should be around here investigating. Kitty, 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 kitty. Meow. Stretch. Oh my. What an adorable little cat. Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. It was a tricolored Mickey, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the glow creature with him from Japan. That made me feel homesick now. Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days. Meow, meow. That dusk seems to be wedged into a crevasse in between the mountains of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes, surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? What's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your books. Oh, yes. Mr. Natsume's name is on it. Look, in the date of purchase, 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. The second-hand book receipt has been entered in the court record. Court record. Natsume, sum of 2 shillings tendered in receipt of picture of Monsieur Lecole. A meal for Gaboro and Canterbury Yearnings. Look at all these books stacked up there. They almost reach the ceiling. They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No. What a dreamy idea. A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again. So reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as this tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremonies philosophy. It's his desk. Boarded up window, sure. Could you even call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although, all that remains is a frame around some bricks now. So really it's just a wall then, isn't it? But why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that? I'm afraid I have no idea. Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design on it in a fit of whimsy. That's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation in here makes the place very oppressive. It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying. Indeed. Okay, books, kitty cat. Oh look! It's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage? Well, well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm. Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same. And this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? You mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? Do. What am I supposed to be? Oh. Look at all these balls of paper on the floor. There are notes scrawled all over them in English. It looks like the waste paper basket is so full, they've just fallen out. I think Mr. Natsume must have been deeply immersed in his research, don't you? Or deeply averse to tidying up his mess. I wouldn't like to speculate which is closer to the truth. Oh, I didn't notice that arrow. Okay. Okay. Well, that's cute. That's kind of cute. Okay. Ah! Look! Mr. Naruhodo! No. Aha! There he is. Where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes? Ah. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. What's his voice? Ah, you two. Good day. Now let me see. Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We were together on the SS Beria. Yes, of course. The Beria. What is his voice? Nope. And let me see. What's happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Azogi. He died, tragically. But you were a great help to us. Ah, yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Azogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh. Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Sherlock Sholmes. This is Mr. No, my dear madam. Hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brainactic. Miss Naruhodo and Mr. Susato. Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. Ah ha ha ha! I lose the first round. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to the crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Soseki-san in that short of amount of time? I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts, lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of inimitable wisdom used now from an adventure entitled "A Study in Scarlet." Okay, so they're using the actual, because that's the actual that's the actual Scarlet. It's the actual first Sherlock's novel, yes? So they're actually like using the original, the actual name of the book, because, which they can, because that specific book isn't under copyright anymore, I guess. Ow. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my best associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression. My dear madam, I should be only too pleased. And this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume, yes. I believe it was a name rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Mr. Susato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I'm not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh? How? I assure you I have no recollection of accusing your astute compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshelf from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit then? That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties. Hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books. I found myself quite lost in bibliophily. Oh, the love of books, especially for first or fine editions. Okay. Do not be deceived into believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Ah, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes. Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man. It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services. It was the first time I've ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service. Ah ha 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 ha. I didn't think that it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may have be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much as in my Great Britain primer. And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those in the precarious boundary between the middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason I find great stimulation in this situation upstairs. Specifically, in the retired army veteran, Mr. John Garadeb. Oh? She doesn't act like a maid because she isn't one, she's just being one for middle classiness. Probably. It's my guess. Okay. Maybe. Or he can't fire her and hire a new one because even though she's completely incompetent and burns him every day, he needs him for middle classiness. Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes under circumstances of this case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later.
Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one.
Ah, but sooner or later, as I said.
I don't believe that's the issue here.
About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes.
Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea?
No window?
Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks.
Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. Yes! Window tax! Woo! I got it. Okay. Window tax? What is that?
Surely not a tax on windows.
Precisely that.
Oh my goodness.
Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home, perhaps rapidly closed windows up, while the rich opened windows here and there and everywhere, in an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money.
How awful and unjust. Forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light?
Indeed, the disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging, and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinary low price.
Because the room is so awful, I should think.
Apparently, Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that is correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation.
Oh?
Still, that is of little relevance here, and not a matter not worthy of further attention.
Are you sure?
I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now.
Thank you, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, yes. Mr. Naruhodo, was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it?
I'm not sure.
Not sure? On what grounds?
Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday.
Really? Then I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized, and promptly so, and so promptly too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes, trust.
Mr. Sholmes,
Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? Ha 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 ha. My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea. Oh, but... Oh, this song... I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes. That was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. Unequivocally, meaning leaving no doubt and ambiguous. Okay. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. And one more thing. Oh? What is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us. I cannot say with any certainty whether or not it is of relevance to this case, but I'm quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garrideb is? Mr. Sholmes said as much before, actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays on my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probe a little deeper into Mr. Garrideb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Do 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 do. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, so true. To be or not to be? That is indeed the question, Mr. Naruhodo. To be or not to be brushed off? That is the question. And the answer is all too clear. Let's leave Mr. Sholmes in peace, shall we? Oh, that's cute. Okay. Well. Wait, is that the tip? Is that how we're doing tips now? We haven't seen this place in a while, have we? So you're telling me to go back there, I guess. "19th February, Mr. Garrideb's room. Ah, you pair again. Ah, you pair again.
Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there?
Mr. Sherlock Sholmes?
Ah, yes. Rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid.
Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there.
Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. Now then, why don't you tell me what... Ah! For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch what you're Bolly well doing?
I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir.
Huh? Ah, yes. Of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid I shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you would be so kind.
Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance.
Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourselves. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck and all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out.
According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Gurdab is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging.
Is he over here?
What is he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes?
Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows. Good gracious, when did you sneak in here? Sherlock Sholmes, sir. At your service.
Whatever were you doing over by the window?
I am given to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly, cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such observation. So I took the liberty of boring a small corner of space by the window up there. Well,
keeping an eye to one's windows at dusk is a prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering.
Ah, and one thing, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, me?
I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind.
Wait, he's not talking about... Is he... I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon.
And out of chains! Woo! It's finally happening.
Do you mean, Mr. Sholmes?
There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I shall take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo.
I think so.
There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark.
and we have to find some lodgings before dark, or we're gonna sleep and die in the road from pneumonia. Catch a mighty fine cold out there. Mr. Garadeb, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service, your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what one might call first rate. I'm afraid, sir, it's all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I've been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements.
I beg your pardon?
The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Sholmes' conclusions are both spot on.
How? How could you possibly?
How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts. And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Great deduction, the game is afoot. Topic 1. Nature of the beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man with military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garadeb, leads us directly to the answer. No. That's not where he was looking. Dum-dum. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. No. Yes, though in the army, man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts.
What is this, piffle, I ask you?
In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you have a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you tried to keep in this very house.
What?
Oh, his face. Look at that face. Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you imagined. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well. Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam?
Me?
I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction.
Is it?
Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to these current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show.
Ah!
Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garadab, at Batty's Circus. A traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I have observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe.
I most certainly did not.
I believe I have made my point. Shoddy work. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. Conclusion. A rampaging Asiatic lion. Topic 2. Oh boy. Now, Mr. Garadab, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in that bliff pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. The pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage.
Nonsense, man. I simply...
But we must ask ourselves. But what we must ask ourselves is the true cause of this pain. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for a payment. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. But you had no choice, so you had no choice but to let go. Meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Huh. Interesting.
Yes, well,
Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack.
Unimaginable?
The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. Very expensive woolen carpet, and if I'm not mistaken...
Oh dearie me.
What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we only need to look at the Tower of Cakes.
Ah!
There's no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noblewoman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact.
Whatever do you mean?
Having tired of taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There's only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet. The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw. Are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Aftermath. Conclusion. Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. You idiot. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Yes, it would not be a game if he wasn't incorrect. Ah! What's the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me. Scalding hot. Is this wrong or nah? 'Cause it's like scalding hot, right? Scalding. Yeah, it should be scalding, I think. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garrideb. I'm afraid I didn't notice.
My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times, too.
Oh.
Mr. Sholmes, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? Again? Well, the deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could have fit inside a room this size? Indeed. It is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well?
But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Garrideb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse.
Ah, that's where you're stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said they sold the lion to the circus.
And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. But I don't believe that I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea.
Ah, my dear Miss Susato, the occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, wherever anyone lands on Great British soil, they're infused with a highly appropriate taste for an afternoon tea.
Oh, what a glorious notion. Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your time to turn to shine again.
I had a feeling that was coming.
A slight massage, that's all Mr. Sholmes' deductions need. You can do it.
Excellent. I've been waiting for my trusty partner in partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. Still, uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least, that's what I want to believe. Let's start again from the beginning of Sherlock Holmes's Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Topic 1. Nature of the Beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man of military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garrideb, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast has run rampant here and is retrieved by that. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Garrideb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature indeed. But it couldn't have been the lion that transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Garrideb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. Well, this is the lion statue. This is the lion statue that Mr. Sholmes picked out. Yes, I wonder. Perhaps if he did live with a lion, it would prove to be a rather sweet companion. I think that's like a mouse trying to tell its family that the cat around the house is sweet. I suppose it is a bit of a flight of fancy, isn't it? Anyway, the beast we're looking for is something else. Let's have a good look around. Was it really the cannon? These are shells for the cannon. Are they? What a strange place to keep them. I imagine they have some significance to Mr. Garrideb from his time in the army. Ah, of course. He mentioned a battle to us before, didn't he? Do you remember? He said he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit him. If a round that size hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it. Or Mr. Garrideb, for that matter. Mr. Sholmes has a Persian slipper. This man has spent shells. Perhaps it's customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece.
Take that!
Oh, got it wrong. True energy beast that tore this room apart is the shells. Their butter wouldn't melt accomplice the cannon, but war is good for nothing, it only brings destruction. Something we must all strive to understand. I failed. Okay. What spectacularly contrived logic led you to this mindless conclusion? Oh, well, it's supposed to be a logic and reasoning the spectacular, so I thought I'd contribute to the show. This is my show, Mr. Naruhodo. Kindly perform any peculiar experiments on your own stage. Sorry. Dang it. Well, now we know what happens when we fail. Well, what we do know in some certainty is that a destructive creature has been at work in this room, and that Mr. Garrideb inadvertently looked in the direction of something that gives its identity away. Yes, if we investigate thoroughly enough, we ought to find the answer. What did Mr. Garrideb turn to look at? It's here somewhere. We simply need to find it. Oh, the photograph. Yeah, they're married. I was right, they're married. Okay. What is this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Garrideb's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Someone must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply here. The glass is broken, so you can't see the bride's face at all. But no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form. I think powerful would be kinder than plump, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, she certainly looks that. There's a lot of horsepower there. Not someone you'd want to upset, that's for sure. Oh look! Have you noticed her wedding ring? It's very large, isn't it? Yes. That's an unusual design. It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower.
Take that!
The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newly wed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this frame print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrideb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make her out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they contain. Indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching a point. Too late. The fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Garrideb. Yeah! The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well! Yet, as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam. Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it's plain to see me with one glance in your direction. It is. You trespass. It gives the handsome clue as to these current whereabouts. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Sholmes is quite right. There's no sign of Mrs. Garrideb anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue that this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garrideb's wife could be. Is she wearing the ring? No. I don't think so. What a charming little teapot! And it's in pristine condition. Joan has been pouring some deliciously fragrant tea from it for Mr. Garrideb, hasn't she? Well, not so much for Mr. Garrideb as on Mr. Garrideb, wouldn't you say? I wouldn't dream of drawing attention to it. Too tightly shut-eyed to avoid even a chance of a giveaway glance. Pursed lips to prevent any secrets from slipping out. Rounded cheeks to deflect any abuse that might be hurled her way. Yes, this is an unnervingly powerful woman, Miss Susato. It's your turn of phrase that's unnerving, Mr. Naruhodo. It's so cool that we can see the entire room. And such a tiny room it is. Yes, yes. What are those? Anyways, it's a maid. Frick. I'm not even sure if I should voice this. It's impossible to believe that it could be true, yet for some reason the thought came to my mind. That this serving maid is in fact a mighty goddess of destruction. What a spectacularly contrived logic led you to this mindless conclusion? The fact that it's her maid! It's the maid! We first already established who it was that caused all the damage in this room. Yes, Mr. Garrideb's wife. It's just a question of finding out where she is now. For some reason, I feel as though she's very nearby. I just need to find evidence to prove it. It is the fucking ring. How did I not see it the first time? She's wearing a very large ring. Look. Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. It's on the ring finger of her left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring. It looks like it's been on there for life too. I can't imagine it would slide off a finger of that size. That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo. Not to say. You know, Mr. Garrideb's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one. It was a very large sunflower design as well. Really? You have a great memory for these things. We just saw it! A large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it? Yes, indeed.
Take that!
I knew it was that, but I didn't see it. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the priest's current whereabouts.
Ah!
Indeed it does. The flower band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown in the hand of Mr. Garredeb's bride in the photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid.
Ah!
No. You are Mr. Garredeb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garredeb herself.
Oh my! Oh my word! Well, jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmised, this is the wife, yes, my Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say she was a bally,
But it would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable circumstances. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct?
That's not right, I tell you. I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford to have a single maid in his employ.
Yes. Here in London, one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though my considered opinion, concerns about appearances are a folly. You mean Mr. Garredeb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garredeb?
Only in company, obviously. But listen here, this must remain a secret. Tip-top secret. Please.
Conclusion. The raging wife of Mr. Garredeb. Topic 2. Aftermath. Now, Mr. Garredeb, it is plainly clear that you still have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, in the brave pose, the distress this loss has caused you is veritably tangible. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders. Pain you feel revealed by that. Mr. Sholmes is quite something. He's still calling Mr. Garredeb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mrs. Garredeb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he hasn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true. So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance, then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garredeb's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? That way. Oh my, look at the bright red mark. Gosh, that's really something. And clearly made by somebody's hand. Yes, Mr. Garredeb has been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard. I've never seen such a clearly defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say. Mr. Garrideb certainly looks glum. According to Mr. Sholm's deduction, that's because he's having to endure the acute pain of losing something dear to him. But we know that he hasn't lost his wife. So that means there must be another cause for the pain he's suffering. That's a very large pipe, isn't it? Yes, anyone who has something that size hanging out of his or her mouth on a regular basis is sure to have a serious chin like Mr. Garrideb's. But what is that white binding all around about? I think that's all we can check, but yes. Slap cheek, let's go. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madame Joan Garrideb.
Well, yes.
You have been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Ah! How the blazes did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes the notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us, even once. To keep you out of sight from view. Well, Now, let us proceed. Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garrideb to fly into rage. And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, this pile of bills. Didn't Mr. Sholm say the pills were all for Lion, Father? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garrideb's wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing. Yes, well, you saw a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that left a perfect hand mark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? I'd love to know the answer to that question. Someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here. Look. Mr. Garrideb is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks. Made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any ideas, Sato-san. Oh dear. I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note then.
Take that!
Yes. It is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note is a certain Miss Mary. A certain Miss Mary is the fly in the ointment here. John Caradab or James? But I don't know the Bali woman. You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I don't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right. That's what I've been trying to say. Ah! A likely story. She's still called Maid. Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained at the time. I bought the book in that second-hand place, and a note must have already been in there. So, the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? That's right. That's what I've been trying to say. Ah! A likely story. For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name. It's written to James. My name, in case you've forgotten, is John. Ah! A likely story. Are you questioning my name now? And here we have it. Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with the most ferocious bite. Ugh. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last, unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, dear me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? Ah. This time, madam, I'm afraid it was you who has inadvertently revealed the truth to me. The one thing I has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. But surely Mrs. Girdab didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt that the state of disarray that this room is in is a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So, this is the last part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction we have to fix. We only need to follow Mrs. Girdab's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base is too small. Surely it's very unstable. It looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear. That would be dangerous. Wait. Let's take a closer look at this. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice that before. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the 3 missing from its holder? This is the advertising handbill for the circus. Batty's Circus. It's in a nearby park. Isn't this the same one as we saw earlier? The one that was folded up in Mr. Scaradab's pocket. Perhaps they're very great circus lovers. It couldn't be that the Hungry Lion is somehow involved here again, could it? Oh dear, I hope not. Okay, well, candlestick.
Take that!
Yes. To explain the dire state of the carpet, we only need to look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow. And of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes. Yes, the remains of a ferocious attack is visible, in which the carpet was devoured, are clearly visible. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge of clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Mrs. Scaradab's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only in her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused the candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds, the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. After sparks of marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. Mr. Sholmes, sir, I salute you. Conclusion. Carpet scorched by a small fire. Soft. Deduction complete. It's these dashed long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshelf just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material, for which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. Don't know about admonished. Demolished might be rather closer to the mark. And beast is the most aptly descriptive. There we go again. And the carpet? Was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor? Afraid to say it was.
Fair to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between its old stick's rage and the raging flames.
You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you.
Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. We've had to hide the mess behind the screen for the time being.
Over here, Mr. Garrett?
Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you'll allow me. I had all my favorite novels in that case, but as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke.
Gosh.
And then the wife started hurling things at me.
What a terrible sight it must have been.
There was I, back up against the window under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it, I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride.
The Lion's Pride? Ah, yes. Your notorious love of big cats coming through again.
I assure you. The title didn't influence my choice in the slightest.
So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. Mr. Sholmes' deductions to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder.
I tell you, it was total carnage. Flames everywhere, and the old stick in a full fettle.
Out of interest, what time of day was that?
Not sure if I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see. Around 5 o'clock, I think.
So exactly the same time as a terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below.
Even more terrifying on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty could have been flattened outside my window at the moment, and I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing.
Oh, really? She's finally called Drone. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo? What can I do for you? Well, I think we've got to the bottom of Mr. Garridub's situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances?
I can't help you there, I'm afraid.
What?
My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset.
I warned you that although I knew the retired army man to be hiding something, I could not be sure whether this secret would provide to be relevant or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Ha 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 ha. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose hope. Heart, bear in mind that all things fall into one of two categories: those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up for your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours of the prison will soon be over. Oh no. Is it that time already? If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. I mean, technically last time we just barged in and didn't do the paperwork. So, no paperwork is fine. It's totally fine. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you'd like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now? I must prepare supper for Mr. Garrett. Oh yes. I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Soseki-san will be waiting for us, and I'm going to have to give him an answer. Yep, they're telling us where to go now. Okay, cool. Cool. 19th February, Bar Road. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison. Yes, I know. Let's hail a car. Traveling time! Oh my gosh! Okay. Oh. What's the matter? It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Garetheb's house. Huh? Traveling. Smug? Aye. Very smug, very smug. I'm like, he's so smug that I want to be like, immediately go like, this is the murderer, because they're that smug. I don't know. Okay. Well, I know thee not, old man. Farewell to thy prayers. Who you callin' an old man, you rum-looking nimney pimney? There are things in heaven and earth, Horatio, that are dreamt of in your philosophy. Who's this Horatio fella? What are you on about? Excuse me. Hey, what the... Who you are now? Who are you now? I'm sorry. I just looked as though there might be some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Naruhodo, Ryonosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see. Hey, lawyer, what? If I can be any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I've studied English law. Yes. Fine. I'll be on my way for today, but you mark my words. This ain't over yet. You literally have yellow eyes, and it's very concerning. Like, you might not need a lawyer, but you might need a doctor. to a nunnery. Do I look like a bloomin' nun to ya? I do hope you're not injured. O fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle. Thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than I dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here? In the Girardub residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right. I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Girardub mentioned that he had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor?
Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume. Oh, more worthy a polemist in my battle of words ne'er could there be.
Sorry? Battle, did you say?
Who was stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night.
I see. Smug killer or just smug? I can't tell. Oh boy. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances, at least.
So fair maiden, so good gentleman, I can tarry here no longer. Fare thee well.
I didn't really understand him, but I think he returned to his room. It seems he's unaware of what happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Girardub house is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly waiting our return. Let's hope we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. 19th February, 6:31 p.m. Local prison, cell 9. Oh, it's you. You're here. You came. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I can't believe you came back. I am so touched. We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh, no. Think nothing of it. Relax. If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Noble, nurturing, never failing, Nipponese. Oh, now, let's not get carried away. Oh, I quite agree. There's nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand, it is for friendship and transcending international borders that one truly appreciates this fact. I mean, I guess he has to be here to offer us lodgings for the night. Okay. 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 Let's deal with this man.
Such is my belief, at least. It's you! The miserable, rotten spy! Look, Sholmes!
Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything, per se. Save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear friend. In that sense, it is the superior option. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight, and it cost me not a penny.
Ah! You! How dare you! Sherlock Sholmes! I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings, no doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life is damned.
What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? His lodgings were cursed, I mean. And there is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What? Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Mr. Natsume, what did you mean by what you just said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh no, why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous. I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean... The trial really is cursed somehow? Are you referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper of the Bailey?
The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please, tell me. Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words.
No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands in prosecution. Ever.
Oh my goodness! It can't really be true. That was 16 words exactly.
Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGill did.
What?
Ah, I'm impressed, Miss Susato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Sykes killed the man himself. Oh no, he couldn't have, surely. You have some wonderful notions. Sorry? The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow.
Oh, yes. Why, of course he is. Ah! Of course he is? Then why are you trying to scare me?
It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis.
What on earth do you mean by that?
Van Sykes is an exceptional man. However, in London's courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception.
Ah, that's good.
Soseki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in a British criminal trial, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, while the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion, in particular, is somewhat easily manipulated. Right. Criminals, and corrupt lawyers for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal, contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury. Which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail.
But that means it means the wrong verdict can be passed.
And sadly, as from time to time, my dear madam, it is simply the reality of the situation.
And that's all right.
However, those indicted by Lord Van Sykes cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed.
Oh my.
Though the adjudication may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking.
Disappear? But how?
By all manner of misfortune, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and drown. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever. Or perhaps attacked by highwaymen.
Oh, no.
All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo.
I knew it. I'm dead, Dodo, done for, doomed.
When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garrideb's house, I assume. Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year since I came to Great Britain. But I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me, all the time, from dawn to dusk. So I shut myself away in my room, but even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. You must have been very lonely. You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time. I have had to move a number of times, most recently to that room on Briar Road a week ago now. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money, it appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops. He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late, so I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it. But if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. But it was true. It was all true. You mean the room really is cursed then? Ever since I moved into that windowless hellhole, my sleep has become plagued with nightmares. I awake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm Brenda the killer, thrown in prison. No one wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really, no one at all? To believe, yes. To believe. Mr. Sholmes. Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Beria, if you recall. The Beria. Ah, the case. The one with the snake? Well, yes. At that time, I was the suspect. But you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us to investigate. I did, didn't I? I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why did you believe me? I see, yes. You mean... because you were a grimly dressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room? Yes. Well, if you'd like, yes. Yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Surely you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in which you were nor in that which you were telling me. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I am concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. Ah ha 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 ha. In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he is right. He is right, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Whether or not I can believe myself. Let me just cry for a bit. But a defense lawyer is as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. You were so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it's time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear. There's never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume. If you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. As I said, I only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday. And although the man I was representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? What to believe in, the defendant, justice, or the truth. How to believe, even. But I think I finally worked it out. I've decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime, and it's imperative that we prove that in court. Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end, with every weapon available to me. So I hope you permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed defense of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got there in the end. Miss Susato? Yes? Well, would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily in my mind. But it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me, and Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. So it's time. Time that I learned to believe in myself. Soseki-san has no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him, to fight his corner. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. Dun dun dun. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Na 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 na. Da 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 da. Dun dun dun. Save my current progress. Alright. And with that, we will end the stream. And I will see you next time. Have a very wonderful day. Wait. It's been so long. What do I usually say? Oh, right. Okay. Thank you for coming to the stream. Have a very wonderful day. Goodbye.